It's your girl Tara, Tara's Local Inspiration. This is another story time. Yep, I got another one. In this video, I explain why I left home, my mom's home, at the age of 16, returned, and then left again at the age of 19 for good. This is my true story of leaving home. Since this pandemic hit us, I've been having a lot of conversations with my daughter, and me and my daughter have been kind of estranged for a few years, but just recently, I guess that good thing came out of the pandemic. Me and her began to talk and conversate more. She started to call and check on me, then I began to call her, so we call each other back and forth sometimes throughout the week, and we just been conversating a lot. And growing up as a child, my mom was not that person. The only thing I really know about my mom is that she's from Louisiana. She got married a couple of times and had a bunch of babies. Other than that, I don't really know much about my mom. She wasn't a talker. My mom was just the type of woman that did what she had to do to take care of her kids. She went to work to provide for us and came home. I don't recall her having any friends, a life outside of raising us kids. If I were to ask her like anything about her past, her childhood or anything, she would kind of get upset and wouldn't want to talk about it. So I just kind of learned not to ask her about her past or her childhood, and she didn't tell nothing either. And so I don't want that with my daughter. I don't want, like, for me to pass and my life be a mystery to her. So lately I've just been oversharing information with my daughter, just about my life, my childhood, you know, having her, being with her dad, my young 20s, and sometimes she'd be like, okay mama, like TMI. But yeah, so we've been having some nice conversations lately, which brought me to want to make this video of why I left home at the age of 16. I returned a few months later, and I stayed until I was 19 and left home for good. The short answer for that would be to get away from my mama, basically why I left home, and just basically want to be grown and do what I wanted to do. But I would like to explain why I wanted to be away from my mama's house. The first time I left at 16, I got married at a young age, had my daughter at 16 and was married. I married her dad at 16. And when we got married, I was 8 months pregnant. It wasn't long before my due date when we got married. And he had just joined the military, and he was leaving for basic training. He had joined the Marines. I had my daughter, and he came back home. His plan was, you know, to get through basic training, come back home, get me and my daughter, and for us to go live with him wherever he would be stationed at. I didn't have any idea what marriage meant, what I was supposed to do as a wife. I didn't even know how to be a mother, honestly. I didn't know what any of that meant. I was just a young teenage girl wanting to be grown, do what I want to do, when I want to do it. I wanted to be out of my mama's house. I didn't like being told what to do. When my daughter's dad came back, he was stationed in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. So he came back to get us. When I got pregnant, we hadn't even dated that long. We started dating the end of my freshman year in high school, and we dated that summer. And that summer was when I let him climb through my bedroom window, and I got pregnant. Yep. So basically we were just kids, didn't really even know much about each other. When he came back to get us, I was still in school. I was in my sophomore year of school. My mom told him when he came to get us, please put her make sure she gets her education, put her in school. In my mind, I already knew I ain't going to no school when I get up there. I knew it. I never ever liked school. As long as I can remember, I've never liked school. So my intention was to go and be a housewife and a mother and not go no damn school. And he promised my mother that he would put me in school once we got to North Carolina. But my daughter's father was, he was real insecure, somewhat controlling. And I remember when we got there, he took me to a school, and I remember him looking around and he said, nah, there's a lot of guys looking at you here. And I said, well, I don't have to go to school. I don't want to go to school anyway. That was fine with him. So we went to live in a trailer park in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina. I realized that I did not like my daughter's father. He wasn't confident in the fact, that, I'm his wife. He had me. To me, it was like he was always worried or concerned that somebody was going to get me, or another guy was going to get me. And that was a turnoff to me. Insecurities in a relationship can turn a person off. And it just turned me off because he seemed so insecure and so self-assured and, like I said, somewhat controlling. I wanted to go back home. PDQ, pretty damn quick. I remember writing my mom and telling her that I wanted to come back home. And we were really young then. And I remember the electricity getting turned off in our trailer home. And I remember eviction notice getting put on our door. And I don't know how he was managing his money then, but maybe he wasn't good with managing his money at the time. I don't know. I just remember I wanted to come home. And I remember my mom sending me a plane ticket for me to come home. But he didn't take me to the airport. And so later he had to leave again to go to freeze training or something. And he had to be gone for a number of months. And I think I told this story before. But I told him, okay, just send me back home. And I'll come back when you come back. Lying my ass off. I knew I wasn't going back there. He ended up flying me back home to my mom's house. For those few months I had been there with him, I felt like I had been in prison. So when I got back to my mom's house, I was like a wild bird out of a cage. I was probably worse than I was before I left home. Because in my mind, I didn't care nothing about I was married. I got in them streets. In them streets, I was having fun in them streets. I remember I went back to school, but I was skipping school probably just about maybe 2-3 times a week. My mom would keep my daughter when she didn't have to work in order for me to go to school, because my daughter just cried all the damn time. Nobody wanted to keep her. So my mom found out I was skipping school. I remember my sister bringing her up to the school, and they had busted me. I had just got back to school. I was in the car with my boyfriend, and they busted me. And my mom told me if I wasn't gonna be going to school, she wasn't gonna be keeping my baby. By then, my sister Fatima, she had dropped out of college because she had gotten pregnant. So she was back at my mom's house. So her being back at my mom's house, my mama didn't stop nothing. I told my sister, Fatima, I'm about to go to Dallas. Watch her for me. And I was gone. I think I had a couple of boyfriends by then. Because in my mind, I didn't care that I was married. I was going to do what I wanted to do. I was probably 17 by this time. Just fast. You know what the older women say? Just fast, just fast. That's what I was. Just fast. And so a few years went by. So by the time I was 19, I had a steady boyfriend. We've been dating a while. I was working. I had gotten a job at the hospital. I started working at the hospital when I was 19 in food service. Me and my mom still kind of bumped heads. We still wasn't close at that time. When I got that job, I started off as part-time. My hours were 4 to 8 at night. I worked the evening tray line. But they were short-staffed, so they always needed help, and I could get a lot of overtime. So sometimes I would go to work, be there at 6:30, have to be there at 6:30 in the morning, and work to 8 o'clock at night. I was working them double shifts, because like after 3 o'clock, you got paid extra for working late shift, and then you got double time, time and a half, you know, for working past, you know, your regular hours. So I was liking seeing that money. I was working all those extra hours. At this particular time, when I started working at the hospital, my brother had ended up coming back home. My brother right over me. He was the youngest son. So he and I both were living with my mom at that time. And I think he was working too. But anyway, I was just working a lot of hours. And me working so many hours, my mom had gave me a couple of bills to pay. You couldn't stay with my mom and have no job and not pay no bills. No. Hell to the now, you couldn't. And if she saw me with some sacks, had been shopping, she would say, "Oh, so you can shop. That means you can pay an extra bill." Like, well, I be damn. So I started hiding my shopping bags. I just remember I was working a lot. You're working food service on tray line. You don't do the same thing every day. It's one day you might be starter with just starting the tray line, putting condiments on the belt and pushing it down the line. You might be the entree person, the meat and vegetable person putting meat and vegetables on the tray. You might be the beverage person. You might be the cart person, which was lugging them big ass carts up to them floors. Or you might be the pot person. The pot person was you wash all those damn pots. Big pots. Big restaurant size pots. And so this particular day, I had worked my morning shift, or I think that evening shift. She had put me on pots. I had washed them pots, and it seemed like the pots just never stopped coming. All the damn pots in the kitchen. You are washing those pots, and you wash them and put them on a cart. Then you take them to the dish room, and then you run them through the dish machine for an extra wash. Then you put them suckers up. So yeah, I was tired this particular night, y'all. I had been washing all them damn pots. And I remember coming home, and I think I just spoke to my mama. I was tired, and she was keeping my daughter. And I think I just took a shower and got in the bed. And the next thing I remember was my brother standing over me saying, "Bitch, get your ass up and fix mama something to eat." I knew I had done worked the double shift, washed all them damn pots. So I'm waking up, looking at him standing over me saying, "Bitch, get your ass up and fix mama something to eat." And then I see his girlfriend. He had his girlfriend. She was in my room. She was standing behind him. And she was saying, "Oh, don't do this," or something. So immediately, he's waking me up out my sleep. So I start cussing him out, saying, "You know, motherfucker, what you in my room for? Such and such, such." And I believe he poked my head or something like this, saying, "Bitch, get your ass up and fix mama something to eat." And I had this brass clown. My older sister used to be a booster back in the day, and she used to steal stuff from the airport. And this was a brass clown that she had stolen from the airport. He was like standing upside down on this big heavy rock. That the clown part was brass. And so I remember picking that up and swinging it and hitting my brother with it. After that, he threw me out of my bed. I remember him kicking me and just calling me bitch, you know, saying, "Get up and fix my mama something to eat." And I remember the vacuum cleaner being in the house, and I remember him picking that vacuum cleaner up and throwing it down on me. And my daughter was there. My daughter was in the bed with me when he did it. She woke up, she was crying. And she was saying, "Mama, mama." And I remember my mama running down the hallway, coming in to the hall. He probably had done kicked me out into the hallway by then. And I remember her standing over me and saying, "Quit all that cussing in my house." She was talking to me. And I'm thinking, this Negro beating my ass. Well, I wasn't thinking it, I said it. And I said, I was mad as hell, y'all. I started cussing to my mama. And I said, this motherfucker is whipping my ass, and y'all, you talking about to stop cussing in your motherfucking house? That was my first time ever being beaten by a man. My dad had never laid a finger on me. No man I had been in a relationship at that time had ever laid a hand on me. My brother was my first experience with in-home violence. My brother. And I just couldn't understand why my mama wasn't telling him, you know, get off of my child. Why are you beating your sister? And she was like, on his side. And he, y'all, when I say he beat me, he beat me. And I remember he had choked me so bad. He had choked me so hard to when I went to work the next day, my co-workers was asking me, who put all those hickeys on your neck? They thought, you know, I had a neck full of hickeys. But no, he had choked me so bad that he had bruised up my neck. And I told him, no, my brother beat me. My brother jumped on me because I didn't fix my mama something to eat. Yeah, I remember that. Honestly, he acted like he was proud of it afterwards. And I remember being so upset because he did it in front of his girlfriend, and she was a girl that had went to school with us. And I was like, I didn't know if he was just doing that, you know, to show her that he could beat. I didn't know where that was coming from, because I didn't even understand why he was asking me, bitch, get up and fix mama something to eat, because my mama wasn't like bedridden or nothing. She wasn't sick at that. I didn't understand it. I got my daughter and went over to my boyfriend's house, and he was about to come back to my house, but his mom told him no. She told him, don't get in that, that's family. And she wouldn't let him go, which I'm glad, you know, glad that he didn't get involved in that. And maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, I left my mom's house and we moved to these apartments, Regal Ridge in Fort Worth, Texas. That was when I moved out at 19, left my mom's house for good. And I didn't know where the heck came from that night. But before I left, my brother had all of this stereo equipment, VCR equipment. Well, I don't know where he got it from, but he had all this electronic stuff in his room. So I was mad as hell, y'all. I was mad at my mama, you know, for not coming to my defense. I did not understand that for my life. So one day when my brother was gone, I thought to myself, I said, I might can't whoop him, but I'm going to get him some kind of way. I took a screwdriver and a soda water. If he's looking at this video now, he's going to know what happened to all of his electronic equipment that was in his room. I destroyed that shit. The VCR, I jugged it with the screwdriver. The big speakers he had in his room, I poured the soda down off in the speakers. Whatever I could do, I just didn't make it look visible that I had done anything to it, because I said whenever he try to work this shit ain't gonna work. I remember this time I tried not to leave with an attitude, because the first time when I left at 16, I left with in my mind like, I ain't never coming back to this place. So I told myself, no, leave right this time. I left right. I gave her the money for the bills that she had told me to pay. I gave her the money for those bills before I left. And I moved out. Not long after I moved out, my brother started back talking to me. And this was how I found out what made him come in my room that way, talking to me that night. He said that my mom had called him. I don't know if she called him at work or what. He said my mom had called him and said that I came in, didn't say nothing to her, and she asked me to fix her something to eat, and I just refused and got in the bed. And at this point, he was frustrated with my mom because she had been like, I don't know, nitpicking him or whatever. I don't know, I was gone by then, I didn't give a damn. But he was complaining to me about my mom, about how she was treating him, since he was, you know, the only adult staying with her at the time. And I was like, well, you know, that's you. You know, you came in there jumping on me. And that's when he told me, well, the reason I did it was because, and that's what he told me. And for the life of me, I don't know why my mama told him that, because that ain't what happened. I had worked a double shift at work, and I remember going to her room, because her room was at the end of the hallway. I remember going down there and saying, hey, mama. She said, hey. And I remember taking a shower and getting into bed with my daughter going to sleep. And waking up to my brother telling me, bitch, get your ass up and fix my mama something to eat. So that was why I left my mom's home. And I left at 19. And other than going to visit her, but I never went back to stay ever again after that. I wish it could have been under better circumstances, but it was not. To this day, I don't know why my mom told my brother that. I don't think I ever asked him, because after that I was out of the home. I didn't really care. I was loving being on my own. I wish I could say that I asked her, you know, why she did that, but I just didn't. I think my mom might have had some maybe psychological illness or problems or something. Like I said, she was a person that never talked about her life. You know, you don't want to upset elderly people when they get older. So many things I didn't get to know about my mom, other than raising me and my siblings. My mom's life was a mystery to me. But that was the reason behind me leaving at the age of 19 with my daughter. Never moved back in with my mom after that. Thank y'all for watching this video, and I will see you on the next one.